Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Well, today we're going to discuss the EV tax credit. So right now, the Senate just passed this version of the big, beautiful bill, and we're going to talk about that. And because in this implications for the EV tax credits and other energy credits, and basically who are going to be some of the winners and losers, because there can be quite a bit of losers. And so we're going to discuss it. I'm going to show you exactly where in the bill the Senate is discussing this, and we're going to talk about it in the comment section. And also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And if you've seen more than 2 of my videos, just go ahead and take a couple seconds and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you don't mind, go ahead and hit that like button also. Helps the YouTube algorithm, helps push this content out to other people who really want to see it. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, now we're going to discuss this is the Senate version of the big, beautiful bill, and this just come out. So the first one is termination of previously owned clean vehicle credit. That's for the tax credit that if you make less than $75,000 as an individual, you qualify for that. If you purchase an electric vehicle that's under $25,000, then you can get $4,000 tax credit. And so obviously that's not for the ultra wealthy unless you consider less than $75,000 a year to be ultra wealthy. Okay, number 2, termination of the clean vehicle credit. That's a $7,500 tax credit. If you qualify for it, of course, it is mean tested based on your income, whether you're single, it's $150, married, it's up to $300,000 that you can make. And also there's a lot of restrictions based on the vehicle, whether or not the vehicle would even qualify for it. Not a lot of vehicles do. Okay, and number 3, termination of qualified commercial clean vehicle credits. This is a $7,500 tax credit that if you lease a vehicle, you can use for, some manufacturers allow you to use that for capital cost reduction. For example, Rivian does this with the Rivian R1S and the Rivian R1T. So I know they have some really good lease deals going on. So you might want to go ahead and take advantage of them because that's not going to last very much longer. All right, number 4. Termination of the alternative fuel vehicle refueling property credit, termination of the energy efficient home improvement credit, and that's something I use myself to make upgrades to my electric panel and also to add a charger to my home that they gave me up to $1,000 tax credit you can use. And also termination of residential clean energy credit, and that's something else I took advantage of to upgrade my HVAC unit to heat pumps, and that saved me a lot of money. I was able to really reduce the use of propane and gas. Pretty good system there. But they're getting rid of it. What else do we have here? Termination of the residential clean energy credit, termination of the energy efficient commercial building deduction, termination of new energy efficient home credit, termination of cost recovery for energy property and qualified clean energy facilities, properties, and technologies, and so on. They pretty much gutted the Inflation Reduction Act. Now let's just go specifically to where we're talking about these energy credits for electric vehicles, and that is on page 499. This is ending the Green New Deal spending, promoting America First energy, in other words, promoting oil and gas and other reforms, and termination of the Green New Deal subsidies, termination of the previously owned clean vehicle credit. And so basically it says amended by striking December 31st, 2032, and inserting September 30th, 2025. And so if you want to get a used electric vehicle and you think you may qualify for that $4,000 credit, you have up until September 30th to make a purchase. And termination of the clean vehicle credit. And it's amended, and that's at $7,500. Again, is amended by striking placed in service after December 31st, 2032, and insert acquired after September 30th, 2025. And also termination of qualified commercial clean vehicle credits. Again, that's the $7,500 you can get to reduce your capital costs for your electric vehicle if you're leasing. And again, it says as amended by striking December 31st, 2032, and inserting September 30th, 2025. So basically, with all these EV tax credits, the cutoff is going to be September 30th, 2025, according to the Senate bill. And I want to know your thoughts on that, because I think there's going to have a lot of implications for a lot of EV manufacturing. And there's a lot of other stuff in here also where I think it's definitely, who was the biggest loser? I'm going to say the American people are going to be the biggest losers here. because who's the biggest winner? I'm saying China is by far the biggest winner. And unfortunately, this is a huge setback, not just for environmental policy as far as having clean air. I like breathing clean air. Also, what does this mean for auto manufacturing in America? I think we're going to be severely set back. We're going to be so far behind. We're not going to catch up. I think my biggest fear is that in 10 years, we're only going to have a domestic auto market. And a lot of these car companies, these OEM companies are not going to exist. And not as they exist today. It's going to be a very negative impact. Lots of jobs are going to be a loss, unfortunately. In addition to that, all the clean energy investments, a lot of it happens to be in red states. So you're talking about tens of thousands of jobs that are going to be lost or either not realized because of this. And really, it's all to really promote fossil fuels. So I don't know. Then I'll let you be the judge on how you feel about that. I don't think it's good. I think it's good to have options. And I don't know. Some people may say, well, it shouldn't have to be subsidized, but oil and gas, it has been subsidized for well over 100 years, all the way back to like 1918 or 1917. I think the oil and gas industry should be able to stand on its own. Also, it makes me wonder about the impact on some of these electric vehicles companies. First and foremost, you see Tesla out there. I think Tesla's going to be just fine. Tesla's survived before without these EV tax credits in the past. These credits were limited to once you produce 200,000 vehicles, then the tax credits was reduced all the way until zero at a certain point. And Tesla survived for years without it, and they flourished. And I think they'll be able to do that again. The same with Rivian. Their vehicles are priced higher, so a lot of those vehicles don't qualify for the tax credit. It will impact leasing for sure. But with the R2 rolling out, it's going to be like perfect timing because that's a lower cost vehicle that people can afford without having a tax credit. The same also goes for Lucid. I think Lucid is going to be fine. A lot of those vehicles, people purchase Lucids probably don't qualify for the tax credit anyway. However, one of the biggest losers, I believe, is going to be Slate. They advertise that vehicle as a $20,000 vehicle. After September 30th, they cannot do that. Matter of fact, they should stop right now because before they even produce their first vehicle, this would no longer be true, which means it's going to put that vehicle at $27,000. And I'm just going to show you another vehicle that also costs that much. And that is the vehicle I'm showing you right here, which is a Ford Maverick. And it starts at $28,145. And you look at the Slate, it's the same amount of money. And you know what I mean, with the Ford Maverick, I'm just go over some of the things you get, some of the difference between the two. The powertrain, you got 200 horsepower with the Slate truck, and the hybrid, you get 191 horsepower, either 250 horsepower with all-wheel drive. Range on the Slate, 150. Maverick, 500. Towing capacity on the Slate, 1,000. Maverick, 2,000 and 4,000 with the towing package. Payload for the Slate, 1,400. Maverick, 1,500. Band length is virtually the same. The Slate is 60 and the Maverick is 54 inches. Seating for the Slate is 2, Maverick 5. It just goes on. And that's a Slate vehicle with crank windows, no radio, none of that stuff. No carpet, nothing. And I can get a Ford Maverick for the same exact price with a radio. I can see 5 people and the whole 9 yards. And so I think the biggest loser is going to be Slate. And now that is an overpriced vehicle. It is priced way too high for what you get. I'm paying $28,000 for 150 miles. And I get a Ford Maverick for the exact same price. And I get everything in it. And it's a hybrid. It gets like 500 miles on a full tank of gas. And also you have the Hyundai Santa Cruzers are similar. Same price point. Yeah, I think this is going to make Slate dead on arrival. It would have been a good fleet vehicle, but now with these anti-EV policies in place, I can see a lot of jurisdictions not ordering EVs for fleet purposes. The federal government obviously is not going to do it. And so I think Slate is going to be by far the biggest loser. And I'm really interested in what they're going to say about this moving forward. I also want to know your thoughts in the comment. Do you think Slate is going to be the biggest loser in all of this? So let me know in the comment section. Also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. But that's all I have for today. I'd like to thank you for joining me once again. And I can't wait to see you on the next video.